From participating in the 2002 Junior Olympics to becoming one of the most controversial contestants on the show Bad Girls Club, Natalie Nunn was controversial for several reasons, and things escalated to a point where she got kicked off the show. She not only does extreme things for fame and money, but viewers often say her behavior ruins the reputation of the black community. If that's true, what pushed her to do it apart from the fame? And how did she get there? Is she the ideal businesswoman that she claims to be? Here's everything you need to know about Natalie Nunn. Before I get to the saucy part of her presence on social media and TV, let me give you a summary of her past and how she started. Natalie Nunn is not the only controversial, loud, and extra woman that you might know of now. As a high schooler, Natalie showed interest in a lot of other things, which obviously didn't include assaulting people or yelling at them. She was very active in athletics. She can track and competed in the 2002 Junior Olympics. She not only ran track, but that helped her secure a full scholarship playing as a defender on the women's soccer team in 2004. So, before all the media and the fame, she was a simple student athlete who was into it from when she was 9 years old. She has a degree in sociology and communications. In one of the interviews, she said, "I graduated from the University of Southern California. USC Trojan, baby. I graduated with 2 degrees in sociology and communications. Sociology is the study of people, and my focus was juvenile delinquents and why kids and people act and do the things they do." Well, how did she get into media from being a student athlete? As she got the opportunity to attend USC, she used that to her benefit. She said, "Going to USC definitely had me around the who's who's in young Hollywood. They were always on our campus and hanging around the student athletes, but there were times when being a student athlete at USC had us hanging around the stars, and that helped us navigate our way into Hollywood events as well. So, getting to know the inner circle definitely helped her find her way into Hollywood." After USC in 2009, Natalie Nunn found out about Bad Girls Club. It is a reality show, and a group of women living in a house together were the participants. They were called Bad Girls. What made the show super popular was the amount of conflicts, altercations, yelling,
"You ain't got bitch! Don't say this in my face! Say something now! Go take care of your baby!"
and you can probably imagine already about how Natalie could have potentially contributed to the show. The producers of the show were seeking bold, outspoken women with strong personalities and potential for conflict or drama, and that matched with Natalie's nature. However, the casting process was not as easy as she thought it would be. She's described the casting process as very long and complicated, involving extensive interviews and even sociology tests, basically producers assessing personality traits and background to see if contestants fit the show's dynamic.
I'm Natalie. I'm from Pleasanton, California, and I'm 24 years old. I'm a socialite. If I logged into my Facebook right now and I had 3,000 inbox messages. I own a store in Pleasanton.
At the time, she had a background as a competitive athlete. She had lived around Los Angeles through college, characteristics that likely helped her present as confident, strong-willed, and camera-ready. Natalie first appeared as a main cast member in season 4, the original Bad Girls cast for that season, and right from the first episode, she did what she had to. Controversies and drama since day 1 of season 4. She began to pick on people even before she chose her bed in the house. The first one yelling,
"Natalie, where the are you, you stupid bitch? Where the is she?"
said it all. Natalie, titled a socialite in the show because she truly was, at least that's what she claims to be. She has 2 sides, and they're 2 extreme sides. One being the life of a party, always at the VIP section of the club, getting guys to buy her drinks, and 2 being extremely bitchy about stuff, and that you'll see throughout the seasons of Bad Girls Club. Things started off pretty well with Annie as she entered the house. However, at one point, Natalie made controversial and offensive comments about a public figure while talking to Annie, which sparked drama between them. To be fair, she openly made it clear that she found Annie annoying, and the thing about Annie is that she's a control freak.
Annie has an annoying voice.
Spirit fingers.
No, not spirit fingers, Annie. Put them down. Just sounds like a 2nd grade teacher.
You're like Sporty Spice and I'm like Baby Spice. Ooh, Spice Girls!
And it's just...
Natalie Nunn, being a Puerto Rican herself, somehow always had problems with black women.
I'm Puerto Rican, Brazilian, and black. I grew up around white kids, and so dark-skinned girls never seem to like me. Tell me now if you're scared, because I'm not scared. I'll tell them all that I wrote this. They're gonna be so mad when they come in this room.
This was one of the reasons why a lot of reviewers comment on how she always talks about women from her own community. In the Bad Girls Club, she made a statement that she grew up in LA around white girls, so dark-skinned girls often hated her. That was quite a bold statement to make. If anything, that was borderline racism, to be fair. Her first agenda in the house was to pick players, the ones she could control and the ones she could fight. Annie was one of the players whom she chose to control.
With Annie, I'm sure I can control her.
If we can Rochambeau it, I think we can be roommates.
So my first instinct is, Annie, we should be roommates.
You're gonna get the ghetto black bitch and she's gonna punk you all the time.
Throughout the episode, Natalie Nunn persistently attempted to assert dominance. She seemed to believe she was better than the rest and judged them every chance she got. Natalie positioned herself as above the group and spoke in a condescending way, and seemed to focus on controlling the social hierarchy early. The house's reaction was pretty obvious. No one liked her, and she was quickly labeled annoying, arrogant, and disrespectful. Honestly, none of that was surprising. All the labels, shit-talking, and blatant bitching about her didn't seem to bother her at all. She almost acted like she was running a team, like everyone else was working for her. She wasted no time and pretty much made sure everyone knew who Natalie was, and that's how the episode went down. If anything, episode 2 was even more wild. The contestants seemed to have beef with Natalie even more, and guess what? This only gives Natalie more leverage to behave as zany as possible.
My first night in the house was a little bit crazy. I still think Natalie is a bitch, and I don't trust her as far as I could pick her up and throw her, but I'm gonna try to be civil so that we both don't end up killing each other.
The fact that Natalie grew up in a bigger city gives her an advantage, or at least that's what she thinks. Several girls said Natalie acted in a way that intimidated them, leaving them to choose between siding with her or going head to head.
You're a VIP girl all day, every day. You know what I mean? Like, hottest parties, I want to know this person, I want to know that person. You live in a bigger city than I do, but back at home, that's me. It's not necessarily intimidating. It's just like, okay, let me see this girl do her thing. You know what I mean? Let me follow for once, because usually I'm just, come on, bitches. You know, let's roll out.
Gotcha.
But like, I'm following now, so it's just something new.
Let's talk a bit about the episodes. This season follows a specific formula, and each episode is built around how extra each participant can be, starting from their house life in general, nights out, conflicts, to consequences. Most importantly, the concept of trusting each other is out of the equation because their core motto was to sabotage each other. Kendra and Natalie somehow got along. I mean, we could definitely consider them to be one of the strongest alliances in the season, as a matter of fact. Natalie often treated Kendra like a partner rather than a target. She didn't talk down to her the way she did with Amber, Kate, or Annie. In confessionals, Natalie spoke positively about Kendra and described her as someone who could handle herself. Kendra, in turn, defended Natalie in several situations, especially when other girls criticized Natalie's behavior. One little thing anyone does, and it turns into a backbiting or a gossip session in no time. Just like how Natalie took no time to gossip about Annie making a bad turn near the gas station. Well, if you think this is all the show was about, you're wrong. Because off-screen the contestant revealed several behind-the-scenes secrets involving excessive verbal conflicts that allegedly led to mental health issues, lawsuits, and other darker matters, which we'll be covering soon without straying too far from our main topic. Natalie was also way too competitive with the housemates outside the house. When everyone was having a good time at the club, she swooped in and stole the guy away from Annie, who had been talking to him, definitely pissing Annie off. But clearly, there was nothing Annie could do except vent her disappointment during the confessionals.
I'm enjoying my conversation with this gentleman, and Natalie is trying to steal him away and have all of his attention focused on her.
Natalie, you shouldn't do that. That's just not, you don't do that. That's not cool.
7 girls cooped up in a house, ready to explode on each other, and the worst is yet to come as the season progresses. And yelling at or even mocking Natalie didn't seem to earn anyone's sympathy. It got to the point where people were secretly kind of happy to watch her eventually crash over even the simplest things.
She's from LA!
At the start of the season, Natalie was friends with Kendra. No matter how Natalie acted, Kendra had her back, but that didn't last long, especially after she hit Kendra in her face, and that was the first physical altercation at the house.
Natalie hitting me in the face is unacceptable. Don't ever hit me in my face. Bitch, you're going home. I don't give a f***, you're going home.
As the season went on, their friendship started to feel strained, and Kendra didn't seem to enjoy Natalie's company anymore. Kendra began to feel uncomfortable with how extreme Natalie's behavior was becoming. While Kendra liked to party and argue, she didn't always want to be dragged into Natalie's conflicts. There were moments where Kendra tried to stay neutral or calm situations down, and Natalie interpreted that as a lack of loyalty. The conflicts among the girls got pretty intense, and she decided she wasn't going to stay at the bad girl's house anymore. The girls were not okay with the fact that Natalie hit Kendra even though she was drunk, and they weren't letting it slide this time. I mean, at this point, they did end up putting up with a lot of things Natalie did. Everyone sided together against Natalie this time, including Kendra, to vote her out of the house.
I think that bitch should go home.
I
don't take back anything I said. And I'm not gonna act nice to her any longer and smile.
I'm not faking the
that. I'm done.
I'm not faking.
For every action, there's a reaction, and guess what? You got to bounce. You hit somebody, you gotta get the up out of here. We're not gonna tolerate that. So she needs to go.
Besides the fact that Nat went physical on Kendra, she also had a habit of demanding full agreement from people close to her. When Kendra didn't immediately back her up or question her actions, Natalie would become irritated. This potentially created a crack in their relationship. Soon after, Nat realized everyone in the house was quietly ignoring her and didn't want anything to do with her. That's when she waved the white flag, apologizing for hitting Kendra and explaining that it had been purely out of frustration over what had happened with her boyfriend.
I am extremely sorry for hitting Kendra in the face. I want to explain to her that I hit you out of frustration because of my boyfriend.
She said she genuinely felt bad about it and actually enjoyed Kendra's company. Otherwise, she would have done things like introducing her to her friend Marcus, giving her clothes, or offering tips to look presentable at LA clubs.
I feel like all I've been trying to do is help Kendra with getting her dressed properly to go out in LA, introducing her to my best friend Marcus, trying to get Kendra some better weave hair. I feel bad that her fault, like shedding all over the house. I sincerely feel bad.
Is this just her way of showing love to people she cares about, or is it really as insufferable as she seems? Even when she was, quote-unquote, sincerely apologizing for acting out of line, she still had her usual sass and attitude. Which could make one wonder, was she really sorry, or was she just playing everyone, waiting on the sidelines until the drama died down and things started swinging back in her favor? Was she playing victim here, or was she truly regretting her drunk behavior?
She doesn't think she's wrong. She came in here playing the victim.
Yeah, she is playing.
She's not
come in being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, but she's like, you have to understand why I did what I did. Like,
no,
I don't care.
She came on the defense. She manipulated into people thinking that you were the bad person, and she was the victim.
Kendra wasn't very convinced by the apology either, so the girls let her decide what should happen since she was the one who got jumped. She made it clear she didn't want Natalie there, but she was still cool enough to let Nat plead her case. Even then, Natalie tried to shift some of the blame, claiming Kendra allegedly pushed her first.
You were straight by pushing me when I was walking away.
I didn't.
You're saying you didn't?
I didn't.
But you pushed me.
I didn't.
Kendra denied it and shut the conversation down, clearly feeling like it was going nowhere. She gathered all the girls in the house to finally put an end to it and decide whether Nat would stay at the bad girl's house or not. They huddled up for a final discussion, and just to be clear, after she went physical with Kendra, Nat didn't apologize at all. Instead, she was yelling things like, I own LA, and I run this shit, as aggressively as possible. Nat showed zero respect for Kendra in the house. Then again, she wasn't really ready to respect anyone to begin with. That left Kendra with no choice but to want her out, but was that really her final decision?
This is the thing, Natalie. You need to work on your. I'm gonna let you stay.
Yes, Kendra had to be the bigger person about the physical altercation she had with Nat and ultimately let her stay in the house, which low-key surprised Nat herself. To be fair, no one in the house was happy about the decision.
For your sake, I hope to God that she doesn't pop off the mouth again with you, because you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna hate yourself for it, because I respect you for giving her a second chance right now. But in the end, I hope you did the right thing for yourself.
Being around Nat was anything but easy or enjoyable, and while Kendra could have done herself and everyone else a favor by sending her home, she didn't. The funny thing about that is, Nat actually stayed longer than you expect, and that definitely wasn't her only physical altercation at the bad girl's house. The label she picked up in the house, ranging from a rude woman to an evil witch, only kept getting worse. That alone pretty much summed up Nat as a person, and once again, it raised the question, was Nat acting that way just for attention and popularity with the audience, or was this really her true self coming out? Did Kendra really make a friend for life, or was this just content to stretch out a few more episodes? Either way, people in the house thought their friendship was fake as hell, almost parasitic, with both of them benefiting in their own ways.
Kendra and Natalie's relationship is so fake. Natalie uses Kendra to boost her ego, and Kendra uses Natalie to get hooked up in the Hollywood scene. It's a sick relationship.
Because of that, the mood in the house slowly turned against both of them, and the girls went to Crest without Nat and Kendra. Their own VIP section, no Nat swooping in on people's guys. Honestly, that was the night they'd been dreaming of. While all of this was going down, everyone in the house were planning to head to a club. Nat chose a club party for $100 and free drinks all night, and she got a lot of them convinced to head down there with her. However, Kate Mary made an offensive statement that got the whole house drop their jaws, and this Nat just needed one to fixate on.
I just don't want to go to like a club all black night. I just don't.
And Nat proceeded to shoot back at her, saying,
Just like you don't want to go to the black people things, I don't want to go to the white people things.
Kate didn't stop there. Kate claims people misunderstood her, but the next words that came out of her mouth were only worse.
Black guys tend to be very, very aggressive at clubs. And so I just don't feel like being hit on or anything like that.
Unsurprisingly, that just made Nat even jumpier.
I don't even want to hear it. Until you are, again,
so now
ignorant,
when somebody wants to
ignorant,
talk to you, you run away.
I'm not going to listen to your ignorance.
You're not going to listen to my ignorance?
I'm not going to listen
Natalie,
to your ignorance.
are you?
Kate added that she didn't want to be in a sweaty black place and insisted she wasn't racist.
I'm obviously not racist. I just don't feel like going to a sweaty black place where...
You just said it again. Oh my God.
I'm not racist. Hey.
But I'm not sure she realized just how offensive that sounded while the whole house was side-eyeing her hard. Annie and Kendra believed Kate wasn't racist and was just trying to explain the situation at the club. But she could have definitely chosen her words better, because wow, that was something. Either way, for once, it was Kate causing the chaos in the house, not Nat. Nat was ready to be on it for the rest of the night because Kate just gave her something to talk about. At the time, she had a boyfriend outside the house, Alamide Faison, but her calls with him were more like reports on the house drama than the usual sweet, casual check-ins couples normally have. Mid-season, Nat and Alamide had a conversation about their relationship and how things were going between them. Nat said Alamide's brothers didn't seem to like her, which made being together difficult. She was also bothered that he wasn't brave enough to stand up to his brothers for her.
I definitely want to be a part of the family, but both of your brothers are just so against me.
I think this is gonna always be an issue.
That's gonna make things really hard for us to be together if you can't stand up to your brothers.
It's whatever, Natalie.
On top of that, the fact that people in the house seem to share the same opinion about her says a lot. Now it was pretty clear that she didn't want to stay together if he wasn't willing to stand up for her.
If you don't care that it affects me, then we shouldn't be together. And if you really love me, Alamide, you're gonna change. And because you're such a big part of my life, it's an issue. Why can't you fix it?
Man.
I'm really, really hurt.
Nat didn't seem ready to let him go, but the way he hung up on her just didn't sit right. Flo had her back, trying to convince her not to get upset over a man.
My boyfriend, he can't get it together.
So break up with him, Natalie.
I don't want to leave him.
I know, but if he's not going to change, then him. Unless you're willing to stick it out, you can't complain. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's either stick it out or just break up with the mother.
The new contestant, Lexi, didn't seem to have a good relationship with Nat, at least based on what she said in her initial confessionals.
I know she is not the nice one at all.
The questions Nat fired at Lexi were pretty wild for someone who had just entered the house. But hey, that's what the show is all about.
Have you ever been in trouble with the law?
Not really.
If you had a boyfriend, would you let your partner videotape you guys having sex?
Probably not, depending on how serious it might be.
Oh, I like her.
Just like Lexi had her opinions about Nat, Nat had hers too. According to her, Lexi was just the least of her worries in the house.
Lexi is fat, a dumb blonde, and the least of my worries in this house.
During that time, Kate and Nat had yet another altercation when Paul, Kate's boyfriend, came to visit. Nat claimed Kate had a problem with her being the life of the party, but was she just being full of herself like usual, or did Kate actually have a real issue with her?
That Kate, all of a sudden, at the end of the night, she got bold about Natalie being the life of the party.
She did. She got bold.
And her boyfriend, her boyfriend probably wants to screw me.
The fight got so intense that Kate threw Nat's makeup out the window, saying,
Natalie loves her makeup to put on a fake phony mask every day because the real her is so ugly inside and out. So I threw it out the window because I knew it was the most important thing to her. I don't give a sorry.
Although it started as just a verbal spat, things quickly escalated and were on the verge of turning physical, with them throwing things at each other. The housemates stepped in before it got completely out of hand, but Natalie still managed to spit in her face.
Natalie just spit on me, and I'm completely repulsed. It's the highest form of disrespect. I thought she was the top of the world in LA. That is the lowest of the low.
Nat made it clear that she thought Kate was jealous of her and insisted that she needed to get out of the house.
This is getting ridiculous. This bitch is gonna live with it every day. That's all she has to do. All she's gonna have to deal with is living with jealousy over her wall. She's jealous.
No.
Yes, jealous.
And just like that, one party changed things between them, at least temporarily. At this point, Natalie realized that people she was once close with, like Kendra, were slowly pulling away because of how toxic she could be. Nat couldn't take it and eventually unleashed all her anger on them. Naturally, she couldn't contain her rage, and whatever was happening with Kendra was just an excuse. Kendra was really just trying to keep Nat out of trouble. Unsurprisingly, Nat ended up arguing with Kendra for no real reason. And this altercation, it was anything but normal.
So are you gonna say sorry?
No.
Why?
Why would I say sorry?
Because I told you my brush was
Let's
in
go
your
to
bag.
the next party.
Why are you? Look at
Because
you.
I didn't know your brush was in my bag. No, stop it.
Next spot. Next spot. It's cool. Next spot.
I'm not done.
Next spot.
You're
next
done, but
spot.
I'm not done.
After this, things just went downhill for Natalie in the show. Even after someone actually let her stay in the house, Nat didn't seem to change at all. She was still going on about how she gave her the throne and runs LA.
Honestly, Kendra, you need to know who's really in power, and every now and then I'll give you the throne, but really you need to just sit down and pop your brakes.
By this point, nearly everyone in the house hated her because she was going completely wild. As the season progressed, there seemed to be no one to stop her. She was slowly losing control, convinced there was no equal in the house, that she ran the place, and that the other contestants were just her little puppets. By the end of episode 11, Nat pushed things over the brim, and finally the girls exploded. Natalie has been at the center of nearly every conflict throughout the show, verbally dominating other girls, provoking arguments, and escalating minor disputes into major problems. The breakout of a physical fight between Amber, Lexi, and Kendra did it all for her. Even though security rushed in to separate the girls multiple times, Natalie seemed relentless and continued to yell, push, and verbally attack even after being physically restrained. After this point, the producers decided that the level of aggression was too extreme to allow her to remain in the house safely. Security and producers approached Natalie, explaining that she had crossed the line and must leave. Even after all of that, she pulls the classic Natalie, defending herself in her confessional, insisting that she was provoked, that the other girls were disrespectful, and that she's leaving on her own terms. She packs her belongings dramatically, slamming drawers and picking up her personal items while continuing to assert her dominance verbally. As she exits, the reactions in the house are mixed. Some girls breathe a sigh of relief, glad the constant conflict has ended. Others are visibly frustrated, knowing the house energy will never be the same. In her confessional, Natalie doubles down, stating that the house will be chaotic even after she's gone, and that people need to respect her for standing her ground.
So I had my guard up the whole time. Anyone stepped in my face, I was giving them the business.
Despite her eventual removal from the show, Natalie remained popular and stayed connected to the Oxygen franchise, later being invited back for other seasons. And if you're wondering what she did in those seasons, she was no different. She pulled the same Nat: constant drama, physical altercations, name-calling, partying, drinking, drugs, and more. She wasn't just back for Bad Girls Club Season 13. She also appeared in other shows like Love Games, Bad Girls All-Star Battle, and various Bad Girls Club casting specials. Natalie became a core cast member and executive figure in the Baddies franchise, appearing in every season from Baddies ATL to Baddies Gone Wild. She was also featured as a judge or host in several Baddies audition specials. After Bad Girls House in 2009, Natalie Nunn was getting her spotlight in Tabloids. According to sources, Natalie walked out on almost a $5,000 bill at the swanky Atlantis Hotel in the Bahamas and fled the country. Natalie was in the Bahamas for an appearance at the nightclub Luna, and she claims the promoter didn't pay for her agreed upon expenses, but instead put her up at the Atlantis Hotel, although this was never confirmed. During this time, Natalie Nunn entered a high-profile celebrity dating phase, and one of the most talked about connections was the NBA star Ty Lawson. Tabloids and entertainment outlets linked Natalie and the Denver Nuggets point guard romantically, with sources saying they were almost all over each other and that they enjoyed spending time together when their busy schedules allowed it. The two were spotted together, and even though their respective careers, hers in reality TV and his in the NBA, made quality time difficult, the relationship grew attention because it paired a rising reality star with a professional athlete. Their connection was a moment where Natalie's life intersected with mainstream sports culture, and even though the relationship didn't last beyond mid-2010. Later in 2010, Natalie Nunn briefly dated rapper Wiz Khalifa. Fans choked for a hot second when they came to know they were dating. This was shortly after Natalie rose to fame on Bad Girls Club Season 4, when her name was everywhere and she was constantly making appearances, traveling, and being talked about online. Wiz Khalifa, at the same time, was emerging as a rising rapper as well. If you're wondering what the song Taylor Gang was about, it was about Natalie Nunn. It took fans so long to realize it was Natalie behind those smiley faces in the music video. After 14 years of uploading, fans seemed to only find out about her presence in the video. Well, it wasn't too easy to decode either. Here from TikTok, just found out that's Natalie Nunn. This shit crazy, I just found out it's Natalie Nunn behind the smiley face. The relationship itself was never very long or deeply serious, but it attracted attention because of who they both were at the time. This was a brief chapter that happened before she met a very important person in her life. After her breakup on Bad Girls Club, Natalie Nunn joined the spin-off dating competition Love Games: Bad Girls Need Love 2 Season 2 in 2011. The show aired from April 18th to June 13th and brought together former bad girls who were competing in various challenges while searching for love. Just like any other show, Natalie was a strong and competitive player in this show as well. Throughout the season, she participated in multiple challenges designed to test compatibility, communication, and emotional intelligence, often standing out as one of the most competitive and charismatic contestants. The contestants on the show, aka the previous bad girls, also made things difficult for her. But it was mostly her fiery personality that got in the way of the competition. No question about it. Things would sometimes turn into arguments, which could potentially divide the house. However, she finished as the runner-up. She lost to the winner, Leia Boleo from Bad Girls Club Season 5 in the finale. In July 2011, Natalie Nunn went through a scary moment when she suddenly collapsed in her Hollywood Hills condo and had to be rushed to Cedars Sinai Medical Center. It was allegedly due to extreme exhaustion. She had been traveling non-stop, hitting 4 or 5 different states and cities every week, even places like Barbados and Bermuda, so the exhaustion definitely makes sense. Natalie then updated her stats on Twitter. "I just checked out of the hospital, everything is going to be okay." Nunn later added that she wasn't too thrilled to be the focus of paparazzi attention either. In September 2011, Natalie Nunn's life quietly shifted in a way that would end up changing her future forever. At the time, Natalie was deep into her reality TV fame. She was constantly traveling, hosting club appearances, and staying booked and busy off the strength of her Bad Girls Club name. One of those appearances brought her to Detroit for a club event, something she had done countless times before. To Natalie, it was just another night of work, another packed venue, another crowd ready to see the outspoken reality star in person. She had no idea that this specific appearance would introduce her to someone who would completely change the direction of her personal life. That night, Natalie met Jacob Payne. Jacob was a professional football player. According to Natalie, their first interaction felt natural and unexpected. This wasn't one of those moments where everything felt forced or overly flashy. Instead, there was an easy conversation, mutual curiosity, and genuine interest on both sides. Jacob wasn't intimidated by Natalie's fame or her bold personality, and Natalie was drawn to how grounded and confident he was without needing to be loud. That balance stood out to her, especially since she had spent years surrounded by drama-filled environments. In one of her interviews, she said meeting Jacob Payne was nice, but convincing him to come to visit LA wasn't easy.
Everyone's like, how did you get that Michigan Midwest boy to come to California? And you know, he's so not Hollywood and in the limelight. He's so in the background of everything. But he does a really good job with being involved as much as he feels that he wants to be.
After meeting in September, they didn't rush anything right away, but the connection stayed strong. They kept in touch, talked regularly, and quickly realized that what they had wasn't just surface-level attraction. By October 2011, Natalie and Jacob officially began dating. For fans who had followed Natalie's public relationships before, this one felt different almost immediately. Natalie herself described it as more serious, more intentional, and more mature than anything she had ever experienced before. What made their relationship stand out was how quickly Jacob became a stabilizing presence presence in Natalie's life. From having to beg men for standing up for her and giving her the attention and support she needed, Jacob was her answer to everything she'd ever needed. As the relationship progressed, Natalie began opening up more about her personal life, something she hadn't always done sincerely in the past. She talked about wanting stability, real love, and a partner who could support her without feeding into drama. He supported her career but didn't try to control it. He understood her ambition while also encouraging her to take care of herself, especially after the intense burnout she experienced earlier that year. Over time, Natalie would later credit meeting Jacob as one of the most important moments in her life. What began as a chance meeting at a club event turned into the foundation of a long-term partnership. Unlike her previous relationships, where things weren't official or lasting long, Nat and Jacob were going strong even after a year. In April 2012, Natalie Nunn reached a major milestone in her personal life when her boyfriend, Jacob Payne, proposed to her during a vacation in Negril, Jamaica. It was an intimate proposal that made it memorable for her. Just months later, this proposal would lead directly to their wedding, marking the beginning of a new chapter for Natalie, one centered on marriage, family, and a more settled personal life. Natalie says the real turning point happened because of Tanisha Thomas from Bad Girls Club. Jacob was actually Natalie's date to Tanisha's wedding, and that night ended up being their very first real date. Tanisha met Jacob at the wedding and immediately zeroed in on him.
Actually, the funny story is me and Tanisha from Bad Girls Club kidnapped him. She met him. He was my date to her wedding. And she said, "You have to marry this guy." Tanisha was like, "And if I have to pull out some pots and pans and beat him all the way to California, I'll do it for you."
Natalie describes it as a full bad girl sisterhood moment. From that day on, Tanisha was convinced Jacob was the one, even though Jacob himself was internally panicking. Natalie says he was sitting there at the wedding, surrounded by Bad Girls Club energy, quietly thinking about running for the hills as fast as he could. But despite his nerves and hesitation, that night planted the seed for everything that came after. Well, just like any other bride, Natalie Nunn's favorite moment about her wedding process was also trying on wedding dresses. She said it brought both families together, something she has always wanted. Big family dinners and the chemistry of both families from the Midwest and the Bay Area, for the first time, were memorable, according to her. The most talked about controversy of 2012 was unquestionably Natalie's wedding and her appearance on Bridezilla's. When news broke that Natalie would be featured on the show, expectations were already high. Viewers assumed she would be dramatic, demanding, and confrontational, and when the episodes aired, many felt those expectations were more than met.
Why am I being called about resizing the ring? I gave you 1, 2, 3 tasks today. 3, that's it. We'll find one better. Because the bitch lied. Get the money back. All of it. I want all the cash back. Now.
Natalie was shown clashing with wedding vendors, snapping at people involved in the planning, and exerting intense control over every detail of the ceremony. She also butted heads with her fiancé, Jacob Payne. Natalie constantly pushed Jacob to be more involved in the planning, but at the same time, she shut him down whenever his opinions didn't match hers. You could see it all over Jacob's face, frustrated, worn down, and hesitant to speak up. And honestly, it wasn't hard to see why. Eventually, even his patience wore thin, and he snapped back at Natalie. And yep, that was probably their millionth breakdown.
You better slow the down, because I'm walking with you.
My family standing at the airport right now. You talking about?
Jacob, you're so whack. I will never talk to you again.
What fueled the controversy was not just her behavior, but the perception that she was deliberately leaning into the villain role. Critics argued that Natalie exaggerated her reactions for the screen time. The audience reactions were quite harsh, like how it was in Bad Girls Club, regardless of her popularity. People accused her of disrespecting her husband, embarrassing her family, and using marriage as a career move rather than a genuine commitment. Natalie, on the other hand, defended herself by saying she was being authentic and that Bridezilla's was designed to highlight stress and conflict. Around the same time, Natalie's appearance on Tanisha Gets Married added fuel to the fire. As a bridesmaid for Tanisha Thomas, Natalie was expected to be supportive. However, the viewers noticed the ongoing Cold War in the bridal party. Natalie's assertive personality once again dominated the screen. This led to a broader conversation online about whether Natalie could exist in any space without turning it about herself. Another part of the controversy in 2012 was about the speed and visibility of her relationship with Jacob Payne. Natalie met Jacob in late 2011, got engaged in early 2012, 2012 and married him by May. The fact that her wedding aired on Bridezilla's and overlapped with Tanisha Gets Married only intensified the backlash. Natalie consistently denied that narrative, insisting the relationship was genuine and that cameras were simply documenting her real life. However, the overlap between romance and production didn't sit right. The Tanisha connection ultimately remained intact. Rather than breaking friendships, the wedding solidified the bond between Natalie, Tanisha, and Jacob. Tanisha later publicly stated that she always knew they would end up together, even when Jacob initially seemed overwhelmed by the bad girl's energy surrounding him. Well, that was only part of Natalie and Tanisha's beef. Their friendship and feuds actually go way back to when they first met on Bad Girls Club, ATL. 2 years after her wedding, Natalie made a major return to Oxygen when she joined Bad Girls All-Star Battle Season 2, and this appearance quickly became one of the biggest moments of her career. In the season, Natalie wasn't the usual rude, extra, and aggressive. Instead, she entered the competition with a completely different mindset. From the very beginning, it was clear she came to win, not just to make noise. Unlike her very first All-Star Battle appearance, Natalie played a much more calculated and strategic game. She paid close attention to the social dynamics in the house and understood early on that alliances would be the key to surviving week after week. Rather than relying solely on physical strength or intimidation, she focused on relationships, conversations, and positioning herself safely within the power structure of the house. Natalie formed alliances early, carefully choosing people who could benefit her long-term game. She made sure she was rarely the main target, often redirecting attention toward other competitors. One of the biggest changes in Natalie's approach this season was how she avoided unnecessary physical confrontations. After being kicked off a show for past altercations and always trying to boss the house, this time she focused on understanding and connecting with the other contestants rather than being her usual self. She picked her battles carefully and often stayed calm when arguments erupted around her, which helped her steer clear of penalties, disqualifications, or getting voted out for being too volatile. Throughout the season, Natalie often had influence over group decisions. Whether it came to voting, targeting certain players, or protecting allies, her voice carried weight. She didn't always win challenges herself, but she made sure she was aligned with people who did. This allowed her to stay protected while others took risks or became visible threats. Even though Natalie Nunn was far less explosive during Bad Girls All-Star Battle Season 2 than she had been in previous years, accusations of bullying quickly resurfaced. While she wasn't physically fighting or screaming like she had in her early Bad Girls Club days. During her time on Bad Girls Club, as popular as she was, people had plenty to say about her behavior, especially the fact that she kept getting into beefs with girls a lot younger than her. Not only that, but the fact that she made racist remarks toward dark-skinned girls, as mentioned earlier, caused significant backlash. But as horrible as she could be, she's undeniably reality TV material. From running track to becoming a celebrity, she built herself in a way that people couldn't help but watch her, even if they hated her. I mean, we're making a whole video about her. Would we even bother if she hadn't been that controversial? People love their favorite villains on TV, and for a lot of viewers, she was definitely one of them. The comments about her behavior on the show were something like this: awful person, incredible reality TV personality. Can't stand her, running around fighting with girls half her age. Hate to admit it, as horrible as she really is built for TV and entertainment. Later in 2016, Natalie Nunn took on a project that was very different from anything she had done before. After years of being known for her explosive personality, fiery clashes, and a bossy presence on reality TV, this time she agreed to appear on a show that was meant to be different and healing than her usual go-to reality TV show. That show was the Mother-Daughter Experiment Celebrity Edition on Lifetime. Unlike Bad Girls Club or All-Star Battle, this wasn't about physical fights, competitions, alliances, or cash prizes. This was about healing, relationships, and most importantly, the emotional bond between mothers and daughters. The concept of this show was simple. Celebrities and their mothers were invited to live together in a therapeutic setting for several weeks. The goal wasn't fame or drama, at least not officially, but to work on unresolved issues, improve communication, and confront patterns of behavior that had strained their relationships. The show paired Natalie with her mother, Karen Nunn, and the cameras followed them as they participated in therapy sessions, confrontational exercises, and structured group activities. Right from the start, it was clear that Natalie and Karen had a dynamic that was unique, intense, and complicated. What made their dynamic interesting wasn't just conflict, though there was plenty of that. It was the tension between love and frustration, between pride and misunderstanding, between support and criticism. Karen, on her part, wasn't afraid to share her perspective. She confronted Natalie about decisions she had made over the years, times when Karen felt left out or unappreciated, and moments when she wished Natalie had been more open or vulnerable with her. Their conversations weren't always smooth. What made the mother-daughter experiment particularly compelling, though, were the interactions between Natalie and the other cast members. One of the most talked about clashes involved Heidi Montag and her her mother. Heidi, known from The Hills, brought a very different energy to the show. Well, they didn't turn abusive and physical. Rather, the reactions turned out a tad emotional, if anything. It wasn't just Heidi's arguments being ugly, but also something she did that honestly disgusted everyone in the show. She not only entered the show completely drunk, but also immediately got head-to-head with Natalie Nunn. Not only that, but she also yelled at her mother, scolded the show's therapist, and yes, ended up puking all over the hallway. Yep, the mother-daughter experiment eventually turned into a hot mess. By the time the mother-daughter experiment wrapped up, Natalie and Karen had not magically healed every wound or resolved every issue, but there was progress. They had engaged in honest conversations they might have never had otherwise. There were apologies, acknowledgements, and shifts into how they communicated. In late 2016, Natalie Nunn publicly announced that she and her husband, Jacob Payne, were expecting their first child. When Natalie Nunn was pregnant with her daughter, Journey, she opened up in an interview about what the experience had been like so far, and it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. She admitted that the pregnancy was rough in the beginning. Between being on TV, filming another season, and managing her personal life, there was a lot of stress. She described the early months as full of ups and downs, with some personal issues adding to the challenges. Despite all that, she remained optimistic, joking about her hopes for the baby. She said she was looking forward to having some cute little bad kids running around, and even joked that she hoped it wasn't a girl. She didn't want to deal with having two Natalies in the house.
How has the pregnancy been so far?
It's
Are
been
you
rough.
excited?
Well, no, it was rough in the beginning. We had a lot of stress. Being on TV, I literally just finished another season, and it was just a lot of stuff going on. So in the beginning, there was a lot of ups and downs, and we had just our own little issues going on. But it's gonna be fun and amazing. I just want some cute little bad kids running around.
Hopefully it's not a girl.
I want them to be bad.
Hopefully it's
not a girl.
You're not ready
I can't have two Natalies.
That's
in
all
my life.
he keeps saying, like literally.
Please.
When asked about whether she planned to continue with reality TV after the baby arrived, Natalie admitted that the pregnancy had actually made her rethink a lot of things. She said that the whole experience made her realize she wasn't as comfortable with the media side of her life as she once thought. Before, everyone assumed she'd be sharing everything online every day, but being pregnant made her notice how invasive it could feel. Fans and followers were constantly watching, tracking every move, and asking endless questions about the baby even before she was born. Natalie admitted it got to the point where she started feeling a bit aloof and hesitant to share updates, worried about how much of her personal life was now public property.
Do you think you're gonna continue with reality TV after the baby has come, or?
I am really, like, even the whole pregnancy stuff, I'm starting to notice how I really don't like our business in the media, which is really weird because everybody thought that I would probably be everyday, like, but like stuff that has to do with like our personal stuff, I'm really weird about it. So as in this story, the baby story, I had no idea people were going to literally sit on my Instagram and Twitter every day, all day, and all they want to know about is the baby and our
even
family.
mine.
It's not even here yet.
And they want to see everything that's going on to the point where now I'm like a little standoffish. I don't want to post up the pictures of it like that. I don't want to let people know how far along I am. I'm like really, because I feel like they're like tracking every little move, and it's a little scary. It's a lot. I've been on TV for 7 years, and people have always been like, oh, there's Natalie, we love Natalie, whatever, there's Jacob. But now this baby thing, it's crazy.
So you definitely.
She also mentioned how having a baby comes with a bunch of concerns. She worried about the impact of cameras on her child. Even managing her pregnancy in the spotlight was allegedly difficult. Natalie explained that even routine activities like going to the grocery store felt strange now. People weren't just recognizing her, they were noticing her baby bump and commenting on it, which made her feel exposed in ways she hadn't experienced before.
Now I'm a little, the grocery store, they used to be like, oh, like, you know, the girl from, she picks up us weekly and when she comes in and buys groceries. Now they're like, her baby bump was a little bit bigger, a half a centimeter. I'm like, what? It's really weird. So
It's a weird business to be in.
Natalie also talked about balancing family expectations. Jacob Payne's family, being from the Midwest, was less accustomed to living life under the camera's gaze. She had to coach them on how to handle questions, what to share, and what to keep private. She emphasized that this was now their real life, and they wanted to protect it as much as possible while still navigating public attention. In 2018, Natalie Nunn took her reality TV career international by joining the UK version of Celebrity Big Brother. From the moment she entered the CBB house, Natalie quickly became one of the most talked about cast members. To be fair, she stood true to her reputation, just like how she did in Bad Girls Club. She definitely went head to head with the contestants at the house, and for the international audience, she probably seemed a little too aggressive. At least that's how people felt. And you'll know why. One of the most talked about aspects of Natalie Nunn's time on Celebrity Big Brother UK was her clashes with other housemates, and none were more notable than her interactions with Gabby Allen. Unlike US reality shows, the UK version is structured a bit differently, and Gabby, a well-known reality TV figure in the UK, was basically the English version of Natalie. Naturally, they constantly rubbed each other the wrong way. To be fair, their conflict wasn't about drama for drama's sake. It was about tone, approach, and the fact that they just didn't get along, especially since they were confined to the same space 24/7, unlike Bad Girls Club where you could just leave the house. It wasn't just about one-on-one conflicts either. Natalie's clashes with Gabby often affected group dynamics in the house. Some housemates sided with Gabby since Natalie does become overwhelming at times. Natalie Nunn's time on Celebrity Big Brother UK was short but intense, and a big part of that intensity came from how quickly she found herself nominated and eventually evicted. The nomination process on Celebrity Big Brother UK is largely controlled by the housemates in the early weeks, and it's where social dynamics really matter. At one point, it almost seemed like House versus Natalie because of how extra she behaved, and guess what she found herself facing? Nomination, which in a house full of celebrities who were already forming alliances and observing each other's behavior was almost inevitable. The other housemates had to consider not just her personality, but the influence she could have on votes and group decisions. Natalie was nominated for eviction by her fellow housemates after receiving 8 nomination votes in the internal nomination process, which was the highest number in that round. She then faced the first public eviction vote alongside Hardeep Singh Kohli. Viewers voted to save housemates, and Natalie received the fewest public votes to stay, meaning she was eliminated first. And obviously one of the housemates who really pushed for Natalie Nunn to be nominated and ultimately voted out by viewers was Gabby Allen. Gabby and Natalie clashed early and often, especially after Natalie accused Gabby of excluding her and Rodrigo Alves from workouts and then confronted her in a very direct way. The disagreement escalated into a serious argument in the bathroom where Gabby became emotional and even told Big Brother in the diary room that she didn't want to be in the house with Natalie anymore. Gabby said she felt uncomfortable and intimidated by Natalie's tone, and she openly expressed that she didn't want to share the house with her. Other housemates like Dan Osborne and Hardeep Singh Kohli also nominated or criticized Natalie at various points. In the diary room, Dan explained that it was difficult to see people close to him upset by Natalie's comments, and that influenced his decision to nominate her. Hardeep, in particular, had had his own clashes with Natalie, and there were moments where other housemates expressed discomfort about her interactions with him. While Gabby was one of the most vocal about her issues with Natalie, it was really the culminative effect of tension with multiple housemates, especially Gabby, Dan, and others uncomfortable with how Natalie communicated that led to her receiving 8 nominations and being put up for eviction. After leaving the show, Natalie was ready to spill on the dishonesty in the Big Brother house. But was the house really dishonest, or was it just her nature clashing with a UK format? She's used to American reality shows like Bad Girls Club, where the girls are constantly at each other's throats. In the Big Brother house, it wasn't just about arguing and throwing words around. Players actually had to adapt a strategy. Well, in short, we could just say the UK scene wasn't just Natalie's thing. In 2019, Natalie Nunn took her career to a whole new level by stepping into the business world with her very own beauty brand, Natalie Nunn Cosmetics. Up until that point, most people knew her as the bold, fearless, and sometimes fiery reality TV star from Bad Girls Club, Love Games, and even Celebrity Big Brother UK. But with her cosmetics line, she was showing fans that there was more to her than just television drama. She was entrepreneurial, creative, and ready to turn her personal brand into something tangible. The first major product line from Natalie Nunn Cosmetics was all about lash extensions. Not just any lashes, though these were Natalie coded, which reflected her personality. She marketed them under the bad girl and baddie aesthetic, leaning into the identity that had made her famous. As the brand grew, Natalie Nunn Cosmetics quickly expanded beyond the initial lash collection. She introduced multiple variations of lashes, different lengths, thicknesses, and styles to suit every personality and occasion. The brand also began offering curated beauty kits that included everything a customer would need to achieve a polished, glamorous look. One of the strategic moves that helped Natalie Nunn Cosmetics stand out was its availability in major cities. The products were sold in Miami, Los Angeles, and New York, positioning the brand in key beauty and fashion markets in the United States. States. Eventually, she also launched her own website, Baddie plush dolls, accessories, hoodies, and more. After all this time, after her wedding and having a baby, Natalie's personal life was back in the headlines. But this time, it wasn't about some reality TV controversy or her business ventures. It was about her marriage. The news mainly involved Jacob Payne moving out. According to some sources, Jacob was seen moving out of their home, which immediately sparked speculation that something was seriously wrong in their relationship. Headlines claimed that the couple was on the rocks, and fans began analyzing every post, photo, and appearance to see if they could spot signs of trouble. However, shortly after all the rumors and reports involving them, Natalie and Jacob were photographed together again, appearing publicly as a united couple. They were seen attending events, going out together, and posting images that suggested they were still very much together. In late 2020, Natalie Nunn returned to reality TV in a big way, but this time it wasn't just about her own drama. She joined a special reunion through Zeus Network called The Conversation, which brought together a group of former Bad Girls Club alumni to hash out old issues and revisit unresolved conflicts from the show's past seasons. It was a simple gathering of the former cast members and see whether the group could come together or at least confront their old issues. One of the main highlights was how the reunion addressed not just individual arguments, but also larger attempts to reunite or spin off BGC content. This was more than nostalgia. It was about planning the future of the franchise. Of course, it came with Natalie's usual antics. The feud between Nat and Red wasn't just the conversation thing. It goes all the way back to Bad Girls Club season 13, Redemption, one of the most intense and chaotic seasons in the show's later years. The feud really exploded into full conflict after a confrontation involved another housemate, Camilla Poindexter. Red confronted Natalie about what she saw as Natalie's behavior toward Judy, another castmate, accusing Natalie of manipulating situations and not being sincere. Their back and forth grew more heated, and things eventually got out of hand.
And I'm trying to be the bigger person, even though you clearly are the bigger person. Even though you clearly are the bigger person.
For anyone who missed the drama between Natalie and Red on Bad Girls Club season 13, here's a quick recap. What followed was one of the most violent and talked about altercations in Bad Girls Club history. Red struck Natalie with a punch connecting on the side of her face. That's when a mere verbal argument escalated to a physical altercation. Security came in to break up that moment, but the conflict wasn't over. Later, after another argument in the kitchen area, Red approached Natalie while she was on the phone with her husband, escalating again. She slapped the glass drink out of Natalie's hand and even spat on her, provoking Natalie to stand and attempt to retaliate by throwing the glass, though she missed. Security intervened again before it could go further. The second ended in a stalemate, essentially a tie, but the damage was done. What made this feud stand out even more was a separate, wildly reported incident from the filming of season 13. During the altercation, Red actually bit Natalie's foot, tearing flesh. Medics reportedly thought the injury was from an animal at first because it was so severe, and Natalie was taken to a hospital and even filed a battery report afterward. Police investigated, but charges were eventually rejected due to insufficient evidence, though cameras were rolling and the footage was slated to air on the show. Both women were eventually removed from the Bad Girls Clubhouse for their roles in the altercation. From being a contestant on Bad Girls Club to becoming a major force in reality TV as the creator and executive producer of the Baddies franchise, Natalie Nunn has done a lot in her career, and that's pretty much everything you need to know about her. Drop a comment below if I missed anything, and let me know who you want us to upload about so you can binge watch next. Until next time.